Hello ladies and gentlemen, One Gamer and his dog here. Today I'm going to be doing a follow-up video to a video I previously released called 5 Reasons Why Hideo Kojima Could Be Trolling Us. Now, I originally released this video in April 12th, 2015. I don't know why I'm saying a year. I originally released it then, and since then a lot of other things have been going on and a lot of new information has come out about the state of Konami, Silent Hills and Metal Gear Solid and Kojima, etc. So I kind of want to do a little bit of a follow-up video. So I'm working on 2 things at the moment, but I might change them into sort of these kind of vlog style, because I like watching people just talk random shit really. So I thought I'd give it a try as opposed to doing something I've done with the Kojima video, which was sort of your more typical game commentary / analysis, where interspersed with clips of the game. So we're just going to try out this style and see what you think. So please leave a comment in the box below if you've seen both the videos, which one you would rather see me do in the future, and I'll work towards that. So, one of the big things that's happened, or kind of a big thing, but it's a bit more of a conspiracy thing, is a gentleman who runs a channel called Super Bunnyhop. You can see a link to his channel just here at the moment. He released a video called Kojima vs Konami, an investigation. And the video's really good, and he sort of goes through a lot of the speculation and news regarding Kojima, Konami and their working relationship. Now, one of the things that he gets in it is he has a transcript from an email conversation he had with an employee at Konami. Now, he does confirm that the person he was speaking to is a Konami employee, but what he doesn't confirm, because he can't confirm, is if the information is true or not. So I read through the transcripts of the email, and certain things stuck out to me that I went, that's got to be true, and some things I was surprised that they're not doing in the first place. So I thought I'd just do this video and just kind of talk through some parts of it. So, basically it's sort of describing what's going on at Konami at the moment. Again, you can see it up here, the actual thing, and if you click it, it will take you a link to where you can read it in full. So, the first point, or what he's done as well, is that he's highlighted certain parts in yellow on the email, just to kind of like, these are the key things that he thought. So, the first one is this. First of all, Kagemasa Kozuki, the CEO of Konami, hates Kojima. I probably butchered Kagemasa's name. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong the same time around. I do apologise. Yeah, so the first thing is that he hates Kojima. Can't really comment on that. I can't really say too much because I don't know if it's true or not, quite frankly. I don't know either gentleman, so I can't really describe too much what's going on there. He uses too much money, spending too much time, and even though Metal Gear Solid is profitable, it's still not making enough money for Kagemasa. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid does cost a lot of money. If you ever see any of the making of documentaries, you can see you can tell this is costing a lot of cash to make this game, and spending a lot of time on it. Yep, Kojima does spend a lot of time on it, and that's why we like the series, because clearly a large amount of work, attention has been made to it, as opposed to it just being sort of a general piece of annual shovelware. Kojima's taking his time, and it does seem like he doesn't make these games unless he's got something to say, and actually a point to the story he wants to carry on with. And more so as well, since he's sort of come out and gone, Metal Gear Solid Rise and Revengeance is not part of the canon of the game. And I think as well he said that about Portable Ops, because he didn't do Portable Ops. I think he said, no, that's not canon as well either. Even though sort of Peace Walker did come to, and Peace Walker and Portable Ops do tie up. Anyway, so the big part of the email, or the thing that I found the most interesting, is this part. Mobile gaming is very profitable in Japan. It uses less resources, less people, and brings in lots of money, and all the AAA gaming companies want to get on it. As you probably already know, Capcom, Sega, Square Enix already are focusing a lot of mobile gaming, and most recently Nintendo has announced they'll be creating games for the platform as well. Now, I've actually done a video, which again, you can click here to see, of my views on the Nintendo NX announcement and the mobile gaming element to it. I am not surprised that they're getting into this, because mobile gaming is big. And he's saying it's big and profitable in Japan. I think it's profitable globally, really. It doesn't cost a lot to make. And I've been involved in app development in the past, not specifically with a game, so I can speak from a certain level of knowledge here on this. App development is cheap, very cheap, particularly with Android as well. Android, Google are very, very, very keen to get people on their platform. They give out everything for free. You don't have to really pay any license fees or stuff like that. Furthermore, as well, you don't really go through a stringent submission process. You can't just submit it and it goes on the store. That does, however, mean that it is harder. There are a lot more terrible apps on there, but then there are some quite good hidden gems on there, as it were. So the actual development of that as well. At the moment, currently, there are still dedicated app development companies, but it's not something that any reasonable developer or coder could learn, quite simply because there are a lot of documentation about it, particularly for Android and for, just to be clear, for Apple as well. Apple, that I've found in the past to be, you've got to pay a license fee to them. I can't remember how much it is, but I think you get it free if you're a student. You don't have to pay for it, and you've got to go through a submission process with them, so they actually do look at your app and check what kind of content you are going to be showing on it, and if it's going to cause them any problems or if it's going to damage their overall app store. But now with all these apps as well, you can charge prices for them as well. You can make money that way, or you can just plug in ads and put the app for free and do quite well out of it. Now, with regards to mobile gaming, I mean, one of the big things at the moment, a lot of things has been talked about. Sorry, there's a dog biscuit here. Good go. Sorry, I was waiting to use that to get rid of it. One of the things about mobile gaming is that, and I think that's what we've seen the rise of the free-to-play option, where the game's free for the download, but then you've got to pay extra to play it, or as they're now describing it, the free-to-wait scenario. I've played a few of these games in the past, but after Dungeon Keeper, like a lot of people, I gave up. Anything that I look at on our App Store that says free, includes in-app purchases, or get is the term they use now, I just completely stay away from, unless I've look online and it's got good reviews. I'd rather actually pay for something and get it outright, as opposed to that method of addiction, which is, I think, is the tactics they're using. They use a lot of tactics that gambling companies use and fruit machine companies to get you to keep purchasing. So yeah, I'm not surprised I've got another treat here for you. Do you want to come here? Come over this side. Good girl. Riveting video, this. So yeah, I'm not surprised that they want to get into that gaming market. Of course, it is very profitable. It's very profitable worldwide. It doesn't cost a lot to develop for necessarily. And if you're Konami, you've got existing franchises that you can use that have got a certain level of brand value to them. Brand value and brand loyalty, and people will recognise them. So as you probably, so the thing in regards to Capcom, Sega and Square Enix, yeah, they're there, they're making money. I reckon that Konami really changed their mind after the Nintendo NX announcement and the mobile gaming announcement. I think that made them really sit up and pay attention, because Nintendo had for years been going, we are not getting into mobile gaming, we're not doing it. And I'm not surprised either, because Nintendo likes to have control over their hardware and their platform. They like to really have a lot of control over their franchises. And I think after what happened with the CDI, Philips CDI, and also as well, when they started working with Sony on a disc-based peripheral add-on for the Super Nintendo, and it ended up being the PlayStation. I think Nintendo likes to share their information and their knowledge to a lot of people. Are you going to come up? No, you're right. So yeah, not surprised. Very surprised when they announced that they were getting into it, because I really thought they wouldn't get into it. I'm not surprised, therefore, that Konami are now like, well, if Nintendo's doing it, we got to jump on this quickly, because if Nintendo are doing it, it must be good. Sega doing it, meh. Sega need to keep themselves relevant, as it were. They're still riding Sonic as far as they can get him, and how long's that going to last for? I'm surprised it's even lasted for the last 10 years. Capcom, they ported everything over, even Street Fighter, which doesn't work on the touchscreen interface. So yeah, they were probably like, meh, well, Capcom's just doing it, meh. And Square Enix, they're riding off Final Fantasy on the App Store at the moment. That's kind of what's keeping them going, and they're selling us back our own nostalgia and childhood feelings, particularly with the new one, I forget what it's called, where you can fight as all of the Final Fantasy characters at once and battle against multiple history and battles and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I'm staying away from it purposely, because I could probably really get into that video game. So yeah. Not surprised I want to get in at all. I think that's definitely where the market is. Kojima's going to stop producing games for consoles and focusing on gambling and mobile games. Yeah, they probably are. And in all fairness, I think they've been going that way for the last few years. What has Konami actually done of any relevance? Particularly last generation. The only things that they've got to their name, like the big franchises they've got Metal Gear Solid, or Metal Gear. It is their franchise, but that's Kojima. That no one gives a crap about Konami doing Metal Gear. You care about Kojima doing Metal Gear. If they would have removed Konami from the box, no one would have cared. Everyone would have been there like, well, Kojima's still going to do it though, isn't he? Yeah, I mean, like, he's staying. It's going to another publisher or developer, but Kojima's still going to be there. No one cares about Konami on that. Silent Hill series. We've seen what happened with Silent Hills. We'll do a separate video about that. And then they got Pro Evo. And that's fallen by the wayside. I'll be honest with you. In my opinion, Pro Evo lost it last generation. They had it for PlayStation 2 and Xbox era. They were producing the superior football game, but I think FIFA just completely wiped them out on the PS3 and Xbox 360. And in my mind, a lot of that was to do with the online system. FIFA's online system was just a lot more superior to what Pro Evo was putting out, definitely at the start. And FIFA just capitalised on it and kept going, and it's done well. And I know there are some people who will still say that Pro is a lot more superior over FIFA and it's a lot more of a simulated game type, but it's not doing the numbers it was doing before. No one's really talking about, FIFA versus Pro this year, who's going to win? No one's really said that for about 5 years now. No one cares. Castlevania, yeah, I mean, I tried that. They had a great franchise there, great series there. They've done a lot of good stuff with it on the Nintendo DS. I mean, it was the perfect device for it. But, with the new sort of Lords of Shadows series, it was alright. It's okay. It wasn't nothing amazing at the time. It wasn't, like sort of the Arkham Knight games that were coming out, or the Batman games, I should say, or the Dark Souls games. It was I kind of found them quite the same, that sort of third person style, and it was there, and it kind of relied on nostalgia factor. But if it wouldn't have had Castlevania in the front, would anyone really cared about Lord of Shadows? Not really. The the Dance Mania kind of stuff, and Beat Mania. I mean, that's what's keeping them going in the arcades, but that's not shifting home units. That's not shifting actual dedicated games. That's the arcade thing they do. I think that series and that style had its chance, and it done really well in the probably mid 2000s and early 2000s, but it's not going to be doing too well these days. Contra could have done some really good things with that in the last few years, and they haven't. Gradius, exactly the same, could have done a lot of good things, done nothing with it, and they've got the whole of the Hudson Soft library, which again, done nothing with really. They had Bomberman, and they done fuck all with it. And I love the Bomberman games. I think they're a great series, and I think it's always good to have a Bomberman game in your collection at any one given time, because it's a great game when you have people around. It's just the ultimate party game to go and go, hey, let's play Bomberman. Everyone kind of knows it. If you don't know it, the gameplay is really simple and easy to pick up. It's just a fun, competitive little puzzle game. The tone's really great. Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful, and they've just done nothing with it. They released a version on the PS3 that I picked up, and it was good, but the online was terrible. And I wanted to have good online for a Bomberman game, especially for the first one, in which we could actually have an online console game, and nothing really much went with it. So them saying that, yeah, we're not doing any more deals, or no, not doing any more deals, but they're not going to be focusing on console gaming, I don't think they've been doing that for quite so many years now, really, so I'm not surprised there. There's a lot of other stuff in the email about guys working at Kojima guys working on the Consumer Report and all the web-based stuff have had their accounts wiped off, frequent blackouts, security doors not working, people being forced to move desks every few days, hundreds of, I can't really comment on that, not too sure what's going on there. It's just, yeah, I don't know what's going on there, so we can't really say if that's true or not. What I do think is true, and one of the things I just actually missed on what I should have been saying earlier, was about that they've merged all the teams together. So, for example, the audio engineers no longer are different teams for each game. It's just the audio team. Same with the animation team, the programming team, etc. Then they're going to work on multiple games at once. So that is to say that you wouldn't have like what we had with Silent Hill game, where you had Team Silent, and inside Team Silent there was a dedicated couple of people doing the sound, couple of designers, couple of animation, and a few programs. They haven't got that anymore now. They're creating these big units of animation, animation, sound, and programming. They haven't said designers, but I'm assuming that designers are probably in that same bucket as well. And I'm not surprised about that. And I'm more so shocked that they haven't done that previously, because it seems like that's where development's going. I've worked in web development now for probably about the last 6 years. We work on different projects and products and things like that. And I've also worked with a lot of development companies as well. And I know it's web development, but I'd still classify it as an application and software development like games. And very rarely do you find them where it's going to be a small team working on one project or one product. You will have designers working across multiple projects and products. You will have programmers or developers working across multiple different products and projects. You won't have them all dedicated to the one. The reason why, it's just more of it's more cost beneficial for the company. Furthermore as well, you can't just have a designer or a sound team sitting around doing nothing while the programmers are doing something else and they can't do their work until that's finished. You can't have that mentality these days. You've got to have them consistently working on things. Does that result in a lesser output of the final product? Yeah, maybe, but the thing is that with all due respect to designers, audio engineers, programmers, animators, etc., you're not special anymore, because there are a lot of people who can do it, and there are a lot of people looking for jobs. There are a lot of people I know who would love to be professional designers, animators, audio engineers, film editors, cameramen, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of people who want to do that, and they will work for nothing, and they will work cheaply, and companies will capitalise on them, and they will hire them as a result of it. So you can't, you've got to be at the top of your game to be like, I am an artist, I am a dedicated, I only work on one thing at a time, and my value is worthwhile to it. I don't think that really works anymore these days, because it's just so much cheaper, because there's so many more of them going around. Ever since universities, particularly in the UK, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I will speak for the UK, started offering courses in audio engineering, design, programming, and things of that. Kind of these kind of creative digital elements, or creative digital jobs, I want to say, actually. Ever since they started sort of applying them in uni, guaranteed every September there are going to be at least 5,000 sound engineers coming out to the job market, and they will work for pittance. And you can't. It's got to be tough for the sound engineers who've been doing it for 20 years to kind of maintain a high salary per hour, pay per hour, because these guys will do it for pittance, and companies don't really care. Furthermore as well, you've got the rise of, particularly in terms of web development, it's probably the same for software and application development. A lot of third world countries have gotten into development, and they're getting bigger at them. I know a fair few people who have used developers from India and Sri Lanka, paid them a fraction of the cost of what it would do to get a developer sitting in their office working on the job in London, and getting really good results. Yeah, and it's just to clarify as well, it's not that they're purposely giving the developers from India and Sri Lanka less money. The developers from India and Sri Lanka are asking for less money, and they're bidding coming in quite low, so you're going to go to where you can get it cheaper, and the results are really quite good. There's been no problems from what I've seen. I know one gentleman I know two things. I know one guy who outsourced a development of a TV app to Sri Lanka and was really happy with the result, and it came in cheap, it came in on time, and there was no real problems with it, and they was also carried on sort of supporting it afterwards. And I know someone else who built a Flappy Bird clone and got some Indian developers to do it, and it cost a pittance in comparison to if he would have tried to get some developers local to home or full-time employed doing it in an office-based environment in London. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. So carrying on with the email, people have said that Kojima can sue Konami but won't because he wants to finish the game, and Konami knew that. As much as I love Kojima, I want to believe this is true, and I hope it is true, because Kojima does kind of seem like one of the developers who is like, I do this for the fans, and I want to give the fans what they want, and doesn't want to stop his baby coming out, really. So yeah, I hope that is true, and it would seem that way. So, I mean, the overall tone and feeling of this email is that it comes across as, you know, like, parts of it come across a little bit bitter, like any annoyed employee, and could just be one person ranting off and just saying some shit for the sake of saying shit and just getting some speculation going. But there are parts of it that do seem quite true, and I think the stuff about the switching to mobile gaming, the restructuring of the development teams, it does seem to make a lot of sense. So with regards to this all, what do I think what's happening at Konami? I think they're having a real big look at themselves and figuring out, do we want to stay in modern gaming, or do we want to move to mobile gaming? And there's also as well, Bunnyhop talks about, or Super Bunnyhop talks about in his video, again it's just up there, about Japan's changing the law on gambling, and if they do, that is going to be incredibly lucrative. So yeah, I'm not surprised that Konami are kind of getting ready for that, and they probably just want to jump straight into that gambling money, because games aren't making the money that they're doing anymore. You know, if you're a big AAA publisher like I suppose, or developer like I suppose Konami is, you've got to be selling a fair few million titles to be getting your money back, and they're not doing it anymore. PC gaming's changed a lot of it. That, like I've kind of said, like, you know, they say it's sort of the indie developers, but all the new developers that are coming out there and just taking a very much a sort of DIY punk approach to it and just doing it themselves, they're, you know, producing some great games that you don't really need to wait for a big publisher to release a game now. You can go onto Steam. Alright, there's a lot of terrible games on there, but there's also some great things made by some small indie developers. Konami's not really needed there anymore, and I think they know it, so I think this is them starting to get out. Silent Hills could have been the last, you know, great game for them, and I think they've just kind of gone, nah, we're not doing it. But that's for another video. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching this rambling thing. Please leave a comment in the box below if you like this kind of format of me just stream of consciousness, as it were, and just kind of looking at the screen and saying that notes, or if you'd prefer me to put together in the future something a bit more professional, where I'm going to sit down, do some editing, write out scripts, read it out, sort out the audio quality, etc. Let me know, because I mean, there's kind of like two ways this is going to go. These videos I can put out straight away. I can easily come home every night and put this camera on and just do 10 minutes of analysis and critique on sort of the latest gaming news and when big things happen. Like the Metal Gear Solid video, I mean, that takes me a good few days to do, and it's just trying to sort of work it into my time. So yeah, we can either have frequent ramblings like these, are these okay, or less frequent but a more professional video. So please let me know what you think I should do. Thanks so much guys, and I'll speak to you later. Bye bye.